Station.
Hello.
This is Heather
Okay,
Grant,
we're ready.
Embassy in New Delhi. How do you hear me?
Hi, Heather. We have you loud and clear up here on the ISS.
My name is Abhishek. I feel in this era of terrorist threat and no peace, space is an avenue which gives a feel of unity to all. What do you think about this? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I think that, if I heard it correctly, space is an avenue for peace for all. And I think that's a very insightful question because up here, we don't see any borders. The world just looks like one beautiful place where people probably are living very peacefully, and it's a great view, and hopefully we get to share it with you through some of our videos and our pictures and some of our words that we send down. So I think space is a great avenue where people are working together, and the International Space Station is a great example of that, where we have over 16 countries working together to build this marvelous engineering project up here.
Sunita, this is Raj Chengappa from India Today magazine. If you get the daily news up there, you may know that India successfully launched a Apollo satellite launch vehicle this morning. Among the stuff it put into orbit was a space recovery vehicle, India's first step towards a possible manned mission. You have now spent more time in space than any other person of Indian descent. Would you advise India to have a manned mission to space, and why? Thank you.
First of all, congratulations. What a great accomplishment. And second of all, to answer your question about staying up in space and whether or not people should be participating in space travel, India or from wherever around the world, I absolutely think that's a great idea. It allows people to work together from all different backgrounds and professions to come together to try to build a place where people can actually live. It's not just an engineering project, it's a biology project, a chemistry project, a physics project. It's all wrapped in together that makes people work together and coordinate, and different types of nationalities and different programs bring all sorts of benefits to working relations throughout the world. So I absolutely think it would be great if India got into the manned spaceflight program. The opportunities to come up here and look at our Earth and look out into the galaxy is just incredible, and I hope a lot of people follow in my footsteps.
I am Sahil. My question is, everyone is talking about space exploration these days, and since you are already there, why do you think human space exploration is so important? Thank you, ma'am.
I think it's so important, sort of just dovetailing on my last point was, I think it's so important because it gives us a different perspective on the world. For one thing, it gives us another look, see where the problem areas insofar as the environment are. Another look at how humans are impacting Earth, and I think we need to be doing that to understand how to save our planet and make sure nothing bad happens to it. And further exploration onto places like the Moon and Mars might give us some clues into also how to make sure our planet stays safe. So I think exploration out into space is something that provides peace throughout countries and throughout the world, and also will provide us some insight in how to save the planet for our future generations.
Sunita, this is Rahul Kamal here. I work for the Headlines Today news channel in India, and I'm delighted to be asking a question to someone in outer space. My question is this. Many years ago, when the Indian Prime Minister had asked Squadron Leader Rakesh Sharma, who's with us over here today, how India seemed from outer space, he'd replied memorably as, "Sare jahan se acha Hindustan hamara." When you look at India from up there, how does she seem to you?
We've had the luxury of flying over India a number of times. sometimes from the north, coming in from Afghanistan and Pakistan, sometimes directly from the west over Saurashtra, sometimes a little bit from the south. Coming up from Bombay and Goa. It's beautiful, and it's beautiful to see the countryside. There's so many colors, and I think I've mentioned that before, just about being in India, how colorful it is. But from space, it's the same, because you can see the green of the fields, you can see the red of the mountains, you can see the darker colors going into the mountains leading up to the snow in the Himalayas. It's really beautiful.
Dear Sunita, I'm Vignan, and I'm very excited to be making my first call to space. Everyone dreams of going to space, but what keeps you going every time? What is the driving force? Also, since you will get to live in the space station for over 6 months, would you, if given the opportunity, stay in a permanent space habitat? Thank you.
Wow, it's a couple really good questions. Well, I have to tell you, this is my first time in space, but if I did have the opportunity to go again, I absolutely would, because it's really fun living up here, for one thing. Floating around is just unbelievable. It's sort of like being Mary Poppins. You just get to fly everywhere, so that's a lot of fun. But that's just a cursory thing. Secondly, all the science that we are doing up here, we're contributing to science projects on Earth, and then further developing our understanding of space and spacecraft and the future of exploration. So that you feel like you're really contributing to the program. And the second part of your question was, would I want to stay, or would I advise people it would be nice to have people permanently in space? I think as a permanent program where you rotated people, it's wonderful. But one of the biggest impressions I get when I look down at our planet is how absolutely gorgeous it is. And I think about all the wonderful things that are down there, the people, the places, and so many places to go to and visit that you can see from up here, and how many things I want to do when I go back home again. I don't think I would like to live forever in space, just because I would miss all that stuff back on the Earth. But I think everybody needs the opportunity to come up here, because it's just amazing, and you get a great perspective on Earth and relationships and people, and all the things that you miss back.
Hi, Sunita.
Hello.
Houston, Alpha, we're with you on 2. I don't know if we're coming back to do some more. What is the plan?
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Sunita. This is Sikta from the news channel NDTV India in New Delhi. And since you can hear us again, my question is, how has being in space changed your perspective on life, on Earth, on people?
How are you doing? We're back with you. Sorry about the little dropout, little bit of an antenna missing portion. We're back, and I think the question, if I heard it correctly, was how does life working in space help us on Earth? Well, hopefully we're doing some research up here that's going to reap a lot of benefits down on Earth. One of them, like I spoke about before, is just observing the Earth and trying to help figure out how to save the environment. And secondly, we're doing some medical experiments up here to help us be able to live long duration in space, and also some of those side benefits to that are some medical advances on Earth. So we're hoping that will help, as well as doing some types of material sciences up here that will help us build spacecraft potentially. that will go help us go out back to Mars, back to the moon rather, and onto Mars. And so there's a whole bunch of science experiments that we're doing up here. And aside for that, one of the biggest benefits on the International Space Station is the general cooperation with all the countries that are working together to build this engineering project up in space, and that's pretty amazing.
A lot of great work you all are doing up there. Yeah, hi. This is Sikta again. A lot of great work you all are doing up there, but my question on the perspective, how has being in space changed your perspective on life, on Earth, and on the people?
So how has being in space changed or added to my perspective on living on Earth and people down there? Well, it's added a tremendous amount to my own perspective. As I look out the window, like I sort of mentioned earlier, you don't see a world with borders. You see just a beautiful planet filled with beautiful countryside and beautiful mountains and beautiful oceans, and it's hard to imagine anyone is arguing down there, not to mention potentially fighting. So it's so beautiful, and you think about all the people down there and how much they must be enjoying our wonderful planet, and that perspective makes you step back, wonder why we would have any issues with each other on the ground. It's just a nice view to be looking at the Earth from here.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate you taking the time. Have a great 6 months.
Thank you, Heather. It's been great talking to you and all the people in India. And once again, I'd just like to say congratulations on this spectacular launch today. That was awesome. So hopefully India will have manned space flight program before too long.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thanks.